Don't fall in. Good morning. It is a beautiful day out here today. We've got sunshine. It's got a nice breeze. And it's not super warm yet, but it's supposed to get up into the mid-60s today, which, sorry about the wind, will help things dry out rapidly. So that is good. Right now, I've got 2 boxes of soybeans that we've got to treat. So I'm going to do that here quick this morning. It won't take very long, other than that there are 2 different varieties, and I got to stop and clean out between each of them, but 2 boxes. And then we'll be done treating beans for as much as I know that I've got to treat at least. So let's get those done, and we'll figure out what's going on after that. All right, well, I got those 2 box treated. Called one of the customers from right down the road and said, hey, I got your beans here ready to go. And he came and picked them up, put them in his wagon, and well, they're gone. So I do have that 1 box over there yet that they've got to get either delivered or picked up. I don't know which customer's going to do yet. This pallet of beans we're going to deliver this afternoon. And then those other 3 pallets against the wall back there, I'll go to the same customer. I might try and get those out later this afternoon. For now, though, I think I'm going to run down to our farms in Berkey just to look around and see what things look like down there. Yeah, it's been almost a week since Dad and I went down to check stuff. I don't know how much rain we got down there, but it's worth going to look. So that's my plan now. Well, the ground is certainly drier on top here in Berkey than stuff back to Waldron where we came from. Whether that's because it took me an hour to get here and the sun's dried it up or not, I don't know, but it's possible we had a little bit less rain down here. I did want to come out and stick a shovel in the ground. Doesn't look too bad. These typically corn stalks. These were chiseled corn stalks that hang a little bit wetter. Oh yeah, that's pretty gooey there. It's not there yet, but we're not that far away. If we get a couple of decent days here, like they're calling for, sunshine and some wind and some heat, that will help. Well, there is a chance of rain tomorrow. The ground down here is a little different than the ground that we farm up west. Our dirt up there, the stuff that I grew up with mostly, it does a really good job of wicking the moisture up, kind of capillary action, where if the soil is wet down 2 to 4 inches overnight, when it cools off and the sun goes down, that moisture will wick up to the surface, and the ground could be dry on top at night, and the next morning it'll be wet. Well, then that moisture evaporates, the ground dries off on top the next day. This dirt down here doesn't really do that. It kind of dries off on top and it seals over and crusts in, and the moisture that's down deeper just kind of gets stuck there. And so it takes more heat and sunlight and time for that to dry out. So you got to be really patient with this stuff down here, because it is heavy clay, old lake bed soils. We're not too far from Lake Erie here, and you can cause issues in compaction and wreck it real fast if you work it too wet. Okay, so I made it back from Berkey after checking the fields down there, running a couple of errands, dropped off a pallet of seeds, the one guy that had to get delivered, and I was driving past one of our wheat fields that we spread clover seed in, and a couple of days ago somebody asked me how our clover was doing, so I thought, well, let's pull in and take a look. So you can see the wheat looks pretty good. It is starting to grow and stretch out a little bit. It's still pretty small, but it is growing. Looks like it's jointed. Yeah, so that's good. That's progressing. And then if you look down underneath here, you'll see right there some clover, right there, right there. It's here. There are some other weeds coming, but definitely we've got some clover started between the rows and stuff here. So this is a weed. But yeah, so that is a good sign. The The clover really kind of just stays small here because the wheat's going to canopy in and fill in the rows, so it'll shade it out, and that clover won't really grow a whole lot until we harvest the wheat, and then the sunlight can get down to it again, and then it will really start to grow, and provided we have enough moisture at that point in the summer. So yeah, wheat looks good, clover's doing well, and we're gonna have to get our herbicide on this field. We have not done this one yet. We use a different herbicide for fields that get the clover than we do on the other fields, and then the wheat has to be jointed in order to do that, which we're just getting to that point. So maybe in the next week or two we'll get the herbicide on, and then when it gets closer to flag leaf and where the wheat's going to head out, we'll put some more nitrogen on it, and we'll put fungicides on at that point too. I wonder if all those Thunder Creek trailers all those people get to use on YouTube have gas tanks on them. Alright, I'm going to run back here to the woods where Dad's working with the backhoe. See how things are going, show you what he's doing a little bit, and then him and I may go check some fields together. So we have a goal here of keeping this water off of these ends. And there's a waterway right there where it's supposed to go. But clearly we need to do some grading and leveling and making sure that it will flow off. And then up here we've got another situation that he's currently trying to fix. These woods are sort of high. The ground is higher than the field. And the water runs out and it sets in these ends. And so we're digging a little ditch to cut that water off and to try and get it to drain that way. You can see the little ditch he's digging here, and you'll also notice over here we got water flowing actively. It turns out there's an old clay tile right here, and it's half full of dirt, and it runs parallel. Dad's actually digging it out most of the way down there. I don't know, it's had to be plugged or something down there where it wasn't flowing, and that's kind of keeping the water from, yeah, it's moving into the field instead of into the tile and going where it's supposed to. So hopefully this will help clean up that mess. Our tile are working. Fields are drying off, but they're not dry yet. Don't fall in. Not too bad here. This is the high ground though. Yep. A little gooey.
Yeah, but it's firm.
All right, well, I'm back. Dad and I are back from scouting fields and looking around. We did not expect to find anything dry enough today. I mean, the ground was still wet on top this morning, but we're getting close. There's a 30% chance of rain tomorrow and storms, and we've got to miss that. If we do, then maybe Sunday, Monday we'll be able to do something, but we'll see. I don't know. So things are drying out. They don't look too bad. Okay, guys. Well, we are at the end of the day here. I feel like I haven't had a whole lot to film, so we're going to have a little chat. So I've alluded to the fact that I've got some questions and stuff that I wanted to address through some of these videos. Some of them are planning stuff related. We'll talk about when we're in the planner. But I got a comment a week or two ago on one of my videos about farm subsidies. So we're going to have a chat about that. Before I get started into it too much, know that I've gone over this a few times in my head, and I have points that I want to hit, but I tend to go on tangents and stuff, so I'll probably hit some of them. I'll probably miss some of them. It'll probably be all over the place, but I'm going to do my best here. So for those of you that don't know, there is a website you can go to and look up how much any farm in the country has received in farm subsidy payments, government payments since 1995. It's public record. Anybody can find it. It's not really a secret. We don't try and hide it, but it's what it is. So first points are, why do we get subsidies? Well, there's really there's two different types of subsidies. Let's start there. One of them is direct payments, which The government pays to farmers directly for producing a commodity, grain crop, or there's, I think, 6 different crops that you can receive payments for. Those have kind of gone away over the last 10 years here. They used to be a lot more popular, but they've been kind of replaced in the last 2 farm bills with programs that are more aimed at risk management and conservation. So conservation is the other big one. They pay you for different practices and stuff to help conserve the ground, the air, the water, whatever it is that it happens to be the concern. In our area, water quality in the Lake Erie watershed is a big deal. There are a lot of different government programs that we can participate in that will incentivize you, let's say, to use good practices to take care of water quality. Now, I would make the argument that those are things, for the most part, that farmers should be doing regardless, and the government shouldn't have to pay us to do it. But not everybody has that feeling, and in order to get people to change the way they're doing it, you have to incentivize them. The kind of third big way that the government pays producers or kind of subsidizes producers is through risk management programs, and there are a couple of them. The biggest one is the federal crop insurance program. They pick up something like 80% of the cost for what we pay for crop insurance. Now, crop insurance is basically a program where if we have a disaster year from a yield perspective, there might be a payment. If the prices go terrible throughout the course of the growing year, the government might pay us in that case. So that's a big one. Now, we do pay some for crop insurance. That's not a free program, and there are different levels and coverages and stuff with different amounts of support from the government. So it is a big chunk of what the farm program is currently, and that has really replaced the direct payments that used to go directly to producers for growing crops. So why does the federal government have these programs? What is the point of these subsidies? It can guarantee you it's not to line farmers' pockets. There's a couple of different reasons. There's really 3 reasons that I see why the federal government subsidizes farmers. Number 1, and this decision was made a long time ago. I could do some research and look it up when the Farm Bill and some of these farm programs started. I would guess it was back in the 40s and 50s, shortly after World War II, but that's a guess on my part without doing any actual research. But they made the decision back then that having a cheap, affordable, and secure food supply was in the best interest of the nation, right? So making sure that the farmers stayed viable and could produce a crop and make money doing it was important in the national security interests of the United States. And so the federal government subsidized the farmers in order to make sure that they were making money and would keep growing a crop. That ensures cheap, reliable food, which the United States has had for a long time. You as an American, although assuming you are an American watching this, you pay less for food out of your total monthly budget than pretty much any other country in the world. I don't know recent statistics, but back when I was in college and 10 years, 15 years ago, it was about 10% of Americans' income went to buy food. Other countries, that number is 20, 30, 40, even 50% of their income just for food. So the United States subsidizing farmers back in the 60s, 70s, 80s was about securing that cheap, reliable, affordable national food source. Another reason that I talked about already was the conservation aspect of it. So they want farmers to do certain tillage practices, certain fertilizer application practices, and that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of those things a lot of people do anyway, but like I said, sometimes you have to incentivize people that don't want to change, and I kind of disagree with this standpoint of the program, but that's another reason. So for example, planting cover crops is a big thing right now, and they will pay you to plant cover crops or to do no tillage practices or to not spread fertilizer when the ground is frozen, those kind of things. And then the last reason, and I don't know if this is ever actually a stated reason or if it's just something that my observation is, the government wants information. They want control and they want information. And if they don't pay us anything, we have no incentive to give them the information that they want. Things like crop yields, acres of crops planted, all of the stuff that we have to report to the FSA, Farm Service Agency, in order to receive these government payments. There would be no incentive for farmers to share that kind of information with the government if there wasn't any money in it. So I think that's a big reason why some of these payments and stuff exist. That's kind of me trying to stick to the facts of why this stuff happens. You don't have to agree with any of that. I certainly don't on a lot of it. I will say this: when the government makes money available to you as a producer, you're a fool to not take it. And I know it sounds easy to just say, well, if you don't like it and you don't want these programs, then just don't take the money. Okay, you're right. That's easy to say that. But we in the farm community tend to be pretty close-knit. We like to think of ourselves as very neighborly. We'll go and help anybody out anytime, neighboring farmers and stuff. And that is true. However, our neighbors are our direct competitors, whether we like it or not. Now, we may have gentlemen's agreement to not directly compete with people for land and whatever, but if my neighbor gets $20, $30, $50 an acre from the government, and I say out of principle I'm not going to take it, well, he can pay more for rent than I can, and he can pay more for that piece of ground down the road that I really think I should get, but I can't afford it because somebody else can afford to pay more. So from a matter of principle, you can have principles all you want, but you're a fool to not take the money that is being offered to you, and that's my opinion. If you don't agree with that, send your $1,200 stimulus that you got back because you don't like government subsidies and programs, because that's the same thing, right? You guys we didn't do anything to earn it. I got one too. Well, I haven't got it yet, but I should. I get it. I don't like that program either, but I can't not take it when everybody else does, right? What good does that do? Now, for my opinion on the whole Farm Bill program stuff in general, which, by the way, the Farm Bill, about 80% or 85% of the funds in the Farm Bill are food nutrition assistance stuff, SNAP program, food stamps, all of that kind of stuff. It has nothing to do with farmers and ag producers at all. There's a big push to separate those two things. I think it should be done. For whatever reason, the federal government legislator has not done that. That's a whole nother issue. But anyway, my personal opinion on farm subsidies, I hate the whole program. I wish they would get rid of it all. But you can't get rid of some of it and not, for some people and not others. We need a level playing field. Some of the programs are a good thing. Some of these, the federal crop insurance subsidy, I have my own thoughts on crop insurance in general. It was awfully nice to have crop insurance last year and have that prevent plant option when we couldn't get anything planted. Never thought it would happen to us. It did. It was nice to have it there. Whether we should be buying that all ourselves instead of having it subsidized, we can have that argument too. But yeah, some of those programs, they're good things. They are certainly helping people out. But I would also argue that they're causing crops to be grown in areas that shouldn't be grown. They artificially inflate land prices, rent prices across the country, things that there's no reason for it. And it helps farmers that are having... I gotta be careful here because there is good things about these programs. I just feel like if nobody got them and we were all on a level playing field, it would be better for everybody because it wouldn't cost the taxpayers money. It wouldn't be picking winners and losers. That's one of my biggest problem with some of these programs, is that it feels like the government is picking winners and losers sometimes instead of letting the free market do it and letting those producers who do a good job, have good management style, and can build up a good reputation in the community should get ahead. The people that do a poor job of managing and don't get good yields and don't take care of the land that they're farming and stuff, well, it should be a sink or swim in my opinion. It's harsh, but it's my opinion. So am I, as a farmer, taking your federal tax dollars and buying new equipment and GPS stuff? No, we aren't talking about that kind of money, really. It may seem like a lot over 25 years, and yeah, it's not a small amount, but at the same time, when we look at the dollars that are running through a farm operation our size, it's really not that much. it really, everything, it's changed a lot in the last 10, 12 years over the last couple of farm bills where the government doesn't just pay us for growing a crop anymore. Now, some of that with the tariffs and the MFP payments that Trump has done the last couple of years, yeah, they have just paid us. I'm not a fan of those programs either. Did the tariffs hurt? Yeah. You know what hurt worse? The fact that we produce too much corn and soybeans in this country. We have an oversupply issue. That's the problem. Well, paying people to grow it doesn't help reduce the supply problem, does it? I have a problem with that. But again, I'd be a fool not to take it when all of my neighbors would. So, long story short, yes, we have taken a lot of federal taxpayer monies in the form of farm subsidies over the last 25 years. I don't like the program probably any more than most of you do, but it's there. I feel like we need to take it when it's offered to us, just like you all took your $1,200 stimulus checks from the federal government because a couple people got sick and they closed the entire economy down. That's really not any different than the MFP payment that we got when they slapped tariffs on China. China tariffs all the grain and kills our export markets, and now all of a sudden, through no fault of our own, our crops are worth a lot less. Again, we still have a massive oversupply issue, and maybe if we didn't get so much money from the government and they changed the rules in the crop insurance stuff in the middle of prevent plant and all of that, we wouldn't have produced so much and it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But it is what it is. So now that I've talked too much on that, feel free to leave comments down below. We can revisit this subject. I didn't probably articulate my positions as strongly and as clearly as I wanted to. I missed points within the programs and how they work and everything. But I wanted to hit on that subject. I know it's an important one, and you know, everybody's got their opinions and you're free to have them. So I would be curious to know how you guys feel about them as well. So now that I'm done talking about that, I'm gonna go home. It's late, after 6, and yeah, that's how I feel about that stuff. So we checked some fields today. It was too wet. We're gonna look again tomorrow. I've got some seed stuff going on in the morning. I got one person's to deliver yet, another guy that's gonna come pick up a few bags of corn that came in for him today. So yeah, hope you guys are still enjoying the videos. I promise we're gonna get back in the fields. I don't know if it's gonna be tomorrow, but maybe Sunday, Monday. Depends on the small chance of rain tomorrow. So have a great night, everybody. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave me comments down below. I'll answer them.